Hey everyone, welcome to day 4, and it's a deep one today. It's creating a culture of trust rather than a culture of fear, and how culture follows leaders. Now, we might like to make the culture come from the organisation, but it never works that way, I'm afraid. So, how do you know what culture you have? And even more important, how do you deliberately create culture? Good news here. You can tell your culture by the way people feel, how they behave, and what they habitually say, as well as what you repeatedly say. You can also create culture in the same way, by things you repeatedly say, questions you always ask, the values you hold, and how you behave. They will copy you whether they like you or not. So let me tell you a bit more about how to tell about the culture. So a culture of fear is really obvious. You have a consequence compliance. So if I do this, then this will happen. If I don't do this, then I'll lose my job, I won't get paid, people won't like me. And it's frightening how frequently that is people's default, that they believe they're going to lose their job, that people don't like them, that they're ignored, that their ideas aren't valued, or worse, their ideas are stolen. And what this causes is a culture of hiding. So I don't say what I feel, I don't say what I think, I pretend, I do what I think is expected of me, and I don't reveal who I really am. And what this means is you don't really have the whole of the person coming to work, and they're not really giving all of themselves, they're hiding a lot of themselves away, which of course is creating more and more of the problem that they don't feel they're being seen or valued for who they are. And in true diversity style, of course, because you don't have the whole person, you don't have everything they could be giving, and actually you're leaving a lot of what you could have in your team on the table. So, how is a culture of trust different? Well, this is, instead of being about consequences, this is about unconditional confidence, fairness. So my job is safe, I always get paid, I'm liked, I'm valued, I can add value, everybody in the team is working towards the same thing, people value me and like me for who I am. And this causes a culture of sharing rather than hiding. So I can say what I feel even if I don't think it's going to be popular. I know I'm really liked for who I am, and I can show up as me and people like me. This is not about labels, people. I could do a whole nother video about labels. This is about proper diversity, about who we really are, not some label we've chosen to hide behind. What models of trust are there? Gosh, there's loads out there. I have to admit a bias here, as I have all the way through with these things. I love Stephen Covey's, Covey we would say in the UK, Covey in America. His work on trust. Stephen Covey is the son of the Stephen Covey who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and his model goes along the line of trust is confidence in character and competence. Character is made up of integrity, your values, what you do, who you are, and your intent, what is your agenda for other people. Your competence is made up of your track record, so what have you done so far, and your capabilities, what skills, attributes, etc. do you already have. And trust is not some wishy-washy factor that you're lucky if you've got it and shame if you haven't. It can be learned, and as an organisation we can get great at this. If you want to think a bit more about this, Simon Sinek has got a great book called Start With Why, and he's actually doing a book club right now. If you look on LinkedIn, on my profile, you've seen I've linked to it already. This is a great idea. If you haven't already done any work with culture in your organisation, have a look at this. And even if you have done work with culture in your organisation, have a look at it. So, deliberately creating culture. The first thing to do, obviously, is to ask yourself some decent questions about this. So, what do we want as a culture? How do we want it to feel in our office? What do we want people to behave like? How do we want people to feel when they come in as visitors? What do people say all the time in our organisation? And if you start looking at what's really happening versus what you want to happen, obviously sometimes there's a big disparity between the two things. There is a unique opportunity right now with this whole chaos that's going on. The culture has been utterly disrupted anyway. Everybody is working from home now, certainly in the UK and most of the rest of the world. We are into the remote world of working, which is why you're watching this. And so it's a brilliant, brilliant opportunity to change the cultural norms. And we can go with the global flow towards compassion and kindness and giving a toss about each other, which is so brilliant to see out there. And people sharing their expertise. There's loads of experts online, doing exactly what Simon Sinek and others are doing, where we're just offering what we've got, just make things better. This is a perfect time to change your culture. When you get back into the office, then you can have very deliberate things that you do to make sure that that new culture continues. So perfect time. If you're thinking about culture change, please tag me below, talk to me about it. This is my big passion right now. I think we've got an amazing opportunity globally to really change culture in the working world. So the next thing, apart from deciding what culture you want, which is pretty critical, is then communicating on purpose, which is much easier to understand, but much harder to do. So remember all these things that I've done so far, and they all build on each other now. Remember, who are you being? Are you being an organisation that is planet friendly, fun, caring? Are you being an organisation that is intelligent and quick and smart? What is it that you want to be known for? What is your reputation? Just like with the 5-second rule we were talking about last time, and how that informs your reputation, your 5-second rule in your organisation, those repeated patterns of what you say will again create your reputation. These 5-second kind of rules will create for you a consistency in the way that you communicate. If you think everybody has like a little video that runs in their head on fast forward of all the interactions they've had with a person, they don't have the luxury of having seen your intent and your other actions and what happened before and afterwards in your life. They just have that moment that you communicated with them. And sadly, all the bad moments go on slow-mo and all the fast moments tend to go fast. All the good moments tend to go fast. So if you are somebody who communicates consistently in people's values, then your little primer video on yourself will be really positive. If you're somebody who gets a bit stressed out and communicates fast with people and doesn't really think before they speak, your video might not have such a great feeling. And just like you have a reputation and a culture around you, so does your organisation. So take a moment and work out what that is. If you can't get to it, ask your team, ask anybody in your organisation, ask your suppliers. Everybody knows what the culture is in your organisation. My last brilliant tip, if you did nothing else, this would improve your culture, and that is to assume good intent. So assume that everybody is doing the best they possibly can, that they want to do a good job, that the suppliers want to deal with you in an upfront and honest way, that your clients want you to do good work for them, and they want to pay you, and that they are capable. So assume good intent and assume they're capable. If you go from that basis and ask your questions from that perspective, you won't go far wrong. So that's my top tip for the day. I'd love to hear what you take away from this. And if you want to know anything more about culture, or you're thinking of planning a culture change, I would love, love, love to talk to you. This is my big passion right now. So tell me below, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Last day. Take care. Bye.